Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories at this hour. Edo State Governor swears in Godwin as Deputy Governor. Rwanda's president defends M23 rebels' actions in DR Congo. Mozambique ferry accident kills at least 96. Details of these stories and more shortly. Now the news in detail. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has sworn in Omobayo Godwins as the new Deputy Governor of the state. Omobayo replaced Philip Shaibu, who was earlier impeached by the State House of Assembly on Monday morning. Shaibu was impeached by the House of Assembly after the adoption of the report of Justice S.A. Omonua retired-led impeachment panel. The panel was set up by the Chief Judge of Edo State to investigate allegations of misconduct and perjury against Shaibu. 18 out of the 20 lawmakers that attended the plenary on Monday, April 8, 2024, voted in favor of the impeachment, while one voted against it. Meanwhile, the former Deputy Governor, Shaibu, has reacted to his impeachment by the House.
Members of Edo State House of Assembly who have chosen to forsake their oath of office and participate in this charade, I say this: history will judge harshly for your betrayal of the people who elected you to represent their interests. But know this: you do not have the power to silence the voice of justice and truth. I call upon the judiciary and all relevant authorities to intervene and uphold the principles of justice and fairness. Let the truth prevail over lies. Let the rule of law triumph over lawlessness. I am confident that the legal system will vindicate me and expose the sham that has been orchestrated against me. I want to reaffirm my commitment to the people of Edo State, to the values that bind us together as a collective. I will not be deterred or intimidated by those who seek to subvert our democracy.
The Coalition for Truth and Justice, CTJ, has welcomed the proposed probe of Alhaji Umar Ganduje's tenure as Kano State Governor. Now, the coalition, at a press conference on Monday, described it as a positive step towards accountability and transparency in governance. Obinna Francis, the convener of the coalition, however, charged Governor Abba Yusuf to extend the probe to other notable individuals in the state, such as former Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso. Francis emphasized that selective justice is a threat to society everywhere in the world, hence the failure to investigate Kwankwaso and others will be seen as biased and political.
We, the Coalition for Truth and Justice, would like to address the recent call for a probe into the former governor of Kano State, Honorable Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. While we welcome this development as a step towards accountability and transparency, we strongly emphasize that selective justice is a threat to society everywhere in the world. Therefore, we urge Governor Abba Yusuf to ensure that the probe is not biased and that it extends to other relevant individuals, including Rabiu Kwankwaso, if he is truly committed to upholding justice. The Judicial Commission of Inquiry set up by the state government to investigate the immediate past administration in the state ought to start their investigation right from 1999 to 2003 and 2011 to 2015, when 70% of government properties were sold or fraudulently allocated to friends and families, and not just focusing on only 2011 to 2015. But it is unfortunate to bring to our notice that the magnanimous sharing of the state assets happened right under the nose of Abba Kabir Yusuf when he was the Commissioner for Works, Housing and Transport of Kano State.
The Rivers State Police Command has issued a strong caution to all parties involved in the political turmoil gripping the state, urging them to refrain from actions that could jeopardize peace and stability. And in a statement released on Sunday, the command emphasized its commitment to maintaining law and order, saying it will not tolerate any attempts to disrupt the peace that residents of the state deserve. It added that the command is aware of inflammatory remarks circulating among political circles and urges all parties to exercise restraint and adhere to the rule of law. The Rivers State Police Command asserts its role as the enforcer of law and protector of lives and property, vowing to take decisive action against any violators as tensions continue to simmer in the state. A Lagos State Special Offences Court has ordered the remand of former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele to the custody of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on charges of abuse of office. Justice Rahman Oshodi issued the remand order following Emefiele's arraignment alongside his co-defendant Henry Omoile on a 26-count charge related to abuse of office. During the proceedings, Emefiele's lawyer, Abdul Rakim Ladi Lawal, sought bail for his client and self-recognition or the most lenient terms possible. He urged the court to consider granting bail based on similar terms previously approved by another court. While Emefiele awaits the judge's decision on his bail application, Omoile has been remanded in the custody of the Nigerian Correctional Services. This development comes amidst another ongoing prosecution against Emefiele at the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja for alleged fraudulent financial transactions during his tenure. News Central now resumes after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. All right, so we'll be going back to the story of the Edo State Deputy Governor's removal and his impeachment, that Governor Obaseki swearing in a new Deputy Governor, Godwin's, as Shaibu's replacement as well. And to discuss this further, we have joining me legal practitioner Dennis Osaritin. Hello, Dennis. Thank you so much for joining me on the news this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right, so can you tell us what legal grounds were cited for the removal or impeachment of the Deputy Governor, Shaibu?
Yes, just like you already must have heard, the Deputy Governor was, the former Deputy Governor was, among other things, accused of, divulging, official secrets and gross misconduct, right? And sequel to those allegations, a panel of 7 was set up by the Chief of Edo State. The panel commenced hearing, gave ample opportunity for the former Deputy Governor to state his own side of the story. And at the end of their proceedings or their investigations, they submitted the report of the House of Assembly, and the rest is history, as they say. Because whatever will amount to gross misconduct is as defined by the House of Assembly. And I've also defined that the Deputy Governor has committed acts that can be defined as gross misconduct. That invariably or ultimately led to the impeachment of the former Deputy Governor, and they say we are now having this.
All right, so Osaritin, network seems to be a problem on your end. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, please go ahead. I think it's much better now. You're freezing at some point.
Yeah, the point I was trying to make before the network, interrupted, was that yes, there was an allegation against the former Deputy Governor, and one of such allegations was that he was accused of divulging official secrets, that information or secret that came, to him by virtue of his office. And he was not, haven't taken or sworn to oath to keep those things as secret or as privilege. he was not authorized to divulge such information. And I said, secret to that allegation, a panel was set up to investigate and find out what the real issues were. At the end of the session of the panel, a report was submitted to the House of Assembly, and the House of Assembly, in its wisdom, found that indeed the Deputy Governor has committed acts that can be likened to gross misconduct, and therefore took a vote for his impeachment. And like he said, the rest is now history.
Okay. Now, we're actually aware that, the relationship between the governor and the former deputy governor, Shaibu, has been shaky for some time. And, we expected this impeachment a while back, but not this close to the end of their tenure. Now, can you tell us what role did the State Assembly play in initiating the impeachment process?
Yeah, for me, the House of Assembly, like we have always maintained, is an independent arm of government. And the Constitution gives them the power of impeachment. The impeachment is not alien to our laws, and it will not be the first deputy governor that will be impeached in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Like we have always argued, impeachment is one of the tools with which the House of Assembly keeps the executive in check. So if any member of the executive is found to be found wanting, or is found to have committed such an offense that will be termed to be gross misconduct in the House of Assembly, they owe it a duty under law to investigate such an allegation. And if indeed the person is found wanting, the appropriate sanction to be meted out is the sanction of impeachment. And that is exactly what the Assembly in Edo State have done today. And I think we should commend them for being bold enough to implement the clear wordings of the 1999 Constitution. And I think they should be applauded for that bold initiative.
Okay, but then how has this impeachment impacted the stability I'm talking about, the political stability or the governance in Edo State at the moment?
I don't see any. For me, the weak link in the chain of the administration of Obaseki has just been removed, because it now appears to some of us that the deputy governor, the former deputy governor, Comrade Philip Shuaibu, appears to now be a clog in the wheel of progress. So it is only expedient that it should be shown the way out to allow the governor and the current administration to finish well in the state. And that is exactly what they have done. You cannot, somebody who, because of his personal ambition, want to consistently rock the boat and break down the rules. It's only expedient that the House of Assembly will come in as a third and independent arm to create this necessary stability. And that is what has been done today.
All right, now you're saying that it doesn't matter that the former deputy governor Shaibu came out to respond, on his impeachment, and talk about, justice being served and all that. Nothing is going to happen, as far as governance is concerned, it has moved forward.
Because, like I said, the deputy governor was given ample opportunity to come and state the social side of the story. But unfortunately, he decided to stay away from the proceedings of the panel, although a lawyer represented him, but they gave reasons why they couldn't continue with his presence at the panel. That notwithstanding, he has been given a right to fair hearing, and that's what is important. So whether you now decide not to exercise that right, it's a different ballgame entirely. What is important to some of us in Edo State right now is that the governor should be allowed to finish well, should be allowed to focus on delivering the dividends of democracy. That is more important than any personal ambition of any politician.
All right, now talking about,
the governor is a politician, and his ambition is not more important than the dividends of democracy that the people are yearning to get.
All right, now talking about, delivering the dividends of democracy, let's talk about, the background of the new deputy governor. Now that's Godwin's and his experience. Do you think that, his background and experience has actually prepared him for the role of deputy governor?
Yes, looking at his profile, for me, he has a very robust profile. He's an engineer by training, like I'm told. He has a master's in public administration, like I'm also told. And I'm very confident that he's a young man. He's going to represent the youth very well. And in these few months, he will have a golden opportunity for him to also, write his names on the sands of time. The history beckons. If he performs well as deputy governor of Edo State as of today, that means his future is very bright politically. And we must all rally around him to ensure that it joins hands with the governor to ensure that it delivers on the mandate of finishing well in Edo State, because the PDP is the party to beat in Edo State, and they cannot be seen to be doing anything otherwise, because the elections that is coming up in a fortnight is one that will be anchored on the performance of the PDP. So anything that will distract the PDP government from performing in those states should be resisted. And I'm very happy that the House Assembly right now has risen up to the occasion and they've done the needful. And I congratulate the new governor and I wish him well in his new office.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mr. Asaratin, for joining me and speaking on this.
Thank you very much for having me, and God bless Edo State.
All right, away from that, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has voiced serious concerns regarding the recently approved 700-kilometer Lagos-Calabar coastal highway project, alleging irregularities in the decision to award the contract to Gilbert Chagri's High-Tech Construction Company Limited. Atiku's statement, released on Sunday by his media advisor, Paul Ibe, shines a spotlight on what he perceives as the Bola Tinubu's administration's inclination towards questionable deals. Atiku recalled that the project had previously been initiated during the Goodluck Jonathan administration in November 2014, with the contract awarded to the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation for $11.97 billion. Now, however, the project was not executed before the administration's tenure ended. Expressing dismay, Atiku highlighted the lack of transparency in awarding the contract to High-Tech Construction Company Limited, emphasizing the absence of competitive bidding or approval by the Federal Executive Council. Prostitution in Nigeria is illegal in all northern states that practice Islamic penal code. Now, in southern Nigeria, the activities of pimps and madams, underage prostitution, and the operation or ownership of brothels are penalized under Section 223, 224, and 225 of the Nigerian Criminal Code. However, in recent times, it's almost becoming an open secret that is legally illegal. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
Stigma where they come with a shower work not before you. You go dey walk out for road and some people go dey point you. They call you a shower. They make you look like say your life don't finish. Like this now to go my father house, you get as they be because my father ma don't disown me.
Hookers, harlots, runs, hookup, escorts, okpo, ashi, and many others. So many names have been used over the years to describe just one profession. Described as the world's oldest profession, prostitution has been practiced since ancient times. There is a legal cover for most occupations. A country's laws ensure that every occupational activity is carried out within the ambit of the law. In Nigeria, however, sex work is considered an illegal occupational activity because the labor laws do not recognize it. The shady nature of commercial sex work results in many young girls and women in developing countries being forced into its web of exploitation when they or their families experience poverty or an economic downturn.
Some will argue that, well, I can do what I like with my body, it's my own body. They have the liberty to make that argument. But let me put it this way. I know that there is excessive targeting by police of prostitutes, for instance, and people are getting killed. That is unacceptable.
This our work get plenty risk. Well, lie. You get plenty risk. Any small thing they don't carry us. And if they carry us, they'll collect the money we get to still bail ourselves. And again, more infections they will. Some men go tell you say they no want use condom, and you go insist. Some of them for that insist they feel won't rape you, no go pay you money. Risk take the business so, but how we go to we can survive.
In 2021, The then Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, asked the Senate to consider legalizing prostitution. According to him, there was a need to legalize prostitution so that the persons involved can be registered and issued a license.
I think it should be banned, it should not be recognized because there's so much dangers to it. It's not a good thing for a young girl to engage in prostitution.
You see, prostitution has been existing far before our great grandfathers were born. The only thing government can do is just to manage it.
That help a lot, like for you that we are not in a relationship now, as in should be legalized.
I know the economy and the job status of Nigeria is what we do not expect sometimes, but that doesn't mean you should still sell your body.
As much as governments may try to clamp down on it, considering how long the profession has existed, the conversations and debate in recent times is shifting to whether or not it is time for prostitution to be legalized. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwe.
Thank you, Bettina, for that report. Now, Nigeria's National Association of Scrap Waste Dealers Association has called for the relaxation of the indefinite ban imposed by the Borno State government to allow hundreds of its members pick up their means of survival. The group made the call shortly after distributing food items to its members and their families in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. News Central's Umaru Kirawa has more on this story.
Metal waste scavenging used to be a brisk business, providing food to millions of people and opportunities to teeming youth in Nigeria's northeast state of Borno. In a bid to curb the rampant theft of metal materials, the Borno state government imposed a ban on metal scavenging on July 10, 2023. However, Nigeria's National Association of Scrap Waste Dealers and Sellers, representing the interest of those involved in the scrap waste industry, has raised concerns over the impact of the ban on their livelihood.
We know our governor is a benevolent governor, and he have already observed so many things before he did this. So we beg his pardon to review the embargo so that the people will have some reliefs.
We launched this palliative to our members to alleviate their hardship.
Yara na tara. Kullun su suke wani ci, su suke wani sha mai girma gona. Ka dube mu da idan rahama mai girma gona. Ka taimaka mana. A dawo mana da kasuwancin nan namu.
The association believes that alternative solutions such as the use of task force and strengthened collaboration with security agencies should be explored to address the issue of theft as it is done in other states.
We therefore call on the governor to please revisit his decision to fish out the criminals that caused the bans and allow the other good citizens to continue with their business.
Allowing them to continue with this business will increase the income of the revenue of the state.
They noted the importance of collaboration and dialogue in addressing the challenges posed by metal theft while safeguarding the interest of the scrap waste industry.
At least our population of Ajakuta, including the scavengers, is more than 300,000 people.
The recycling business is the reason that China and Indian economic is booming because they gives job to our teeming unemployed youth.
It remains to be seen how the Borno state government will respond to these concerns while balancing the need for public safety and addressing the economic impact on vulnerable communities. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The spread of misinformation and irresponsible commentary on social media platforms has once again come into the spotlight following a recent case involving popular gospel singer Mercy Chinwo. Allegations linking the singer's newborn to Pastor Nathaniel Bassi, made by anonymous social media users, have raised questions about the ethics and repercussions of digital discourse. News Central's Nii Omoni completes the story. All right, in the absence of that story, We'll take a quick break. But before then, coming up after the break, Rwanda's president defends M23 rebels' actions in DR Congo. We'll bring you details after the break.
Good morning, Your Excellency. Thank you for taking the time to meet here today with members of the press, researchers, and writers who have joined us from all over the world for the commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi. Mr. President, we are ready.
And I have two questions for you. The first one is against the Tutsi remain unpunished. Can victims
in the country rejoined yesterday? Were you able to raise? Thank you, sir.
The news continues in East Africa, where Rwanda's President Paul Kagame says the M23 group in the Democratic Republic of Congo are fighting against injustice against the Tutsi ethnic group. Kagame made this statement during a media briefing on the sidelines of the commemoration of the genocide 30 years on. When asked about the allegations on his position on whether Rwanda supports M23 rebels or not, Kagame said the right questions are not being asked. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame says that his country's relationship with France is good and progress has been made in the regard despite a long history of problems between the two countries who have clashed diplomatically in the past on the issue of France's role before, during and after the genocide. Kagame tells reporters at the press conference in the capital Kigali a day after Rwanda held a solemn ceremony to mark the 30th anniversary of the genocide, which claimed the lives of 800,000 people.
Our relationship between Rwanda and France is good and has been good in the recent days. Of course, behind that, there is this long history of problems relating to what happened in our country in the last 30 years. So my feeling up to now is we've made progress. But there are still people maybe in the political and other structures of France that are held back by what happened in history. They are still living politically in the past. We can only be making progress on the basis of people who want to look forward and we move forward together. So for me, I'm focused on the good things that can happen if we relate well and make progress. These small issues, I think, will be there, even if you are talking about the head of state having done this and that. But still, that's not for me to dwell on and talk about.
Now in South Africa, Zimbabwe has launched a new currency which goes into effect today. The ZiG dollar is backed up by gold and foreign currencies. In 2009, the previous currency collapsed the country's economy and saw the government being forced to temporarily shut its currency and allow the US dollar to be the legal tender. In March, the annual inflation reached 55%, making Zimbabwe the second world worst performing currency. Now, the new Reserve Bank Governor, John Musayevanhu, who occupied office last month, has urged local banks to convert Zimbabwe dollar balances to the new ZiG. However, despite the new currency, the US dollar will continue being the legal tender, and this is as the US dollar accounts for 85% of Zimbabwe's transactions. The death toll from the sinking of a makeshift ferry boat off the north coast of Mozambique has risen to 96. Local authorities report that the severely overcrowded makeshift ferry carrying roughly 130 passengers capsized off the northern coast near Nampula province. Nampula's Secretary of State, Jamie Neto, confirmed the tragedy, citing the vessel's unsuitability for passenger transport and overcrowding as the cause of the sinking. Now, he added that rescue efforts are underway, hampered by rough sea conditions. So far, 5 survivors have been pulled from the wreckage, but the search continues amidst challenging weather. NATO revealed that the passengers were attempting to reach an island off the coast, likely driven by panic due to misinformation about cholera outbreaks on the mainland. Still ahead, Germany, Nicaragua trade words at Gaza genocide case. We'll bring you details after the break. Thank you for staying with us. Now, Nicaragua has told the International Court of Justice in The Hague that it was pathetic for Germany to give weapons to the Israeli government while simultaneously providing aid to Gaza. The Central American nation is demanding judges impose emergency measures to stop Berlin from providing Israel with weapons and other assistance. Now, Germany's representative, speaking outside the court, said her country rejected the charges, calling Nicaragua's case grossly biased. Germany is to respond on Tuesday.
It's indeed a pathetic excuse to the Palestinian children, women and men in Gaza to provide humanitarian aid, including through airdrops on the one hand, and to furnish the weapons and military equipment that are used to kill and annihilate them, and to kill also humanitarian aid workers, as most recently evidenced by the missile attack against vehicles and workers of World Central Kitchen. On the other hand,
Germany does not and never did violate the Genocide Convention nor international humanitarian law, either directly nor indirectly. Nicaragua's presentation was grossly biased, and we will be telling you tomorrow how we fully live up to our responsibilities. Thank you very much.
The leader of South Korea's ruling People Power Party, Hang Dong-hoon, has asked on supporters or voters to support his party at the ballots during a rally on Monday for candidate Ahn Cheol-soo. Hang said voting for his party will be akin to protecting the country, comparing voters to historical hero Admiral Yi Sung-shin, who fought against the Japanese during the 16th century Imjin War.
지금 우리가 나서지 않아서 200석 당하고 개헌당하면 그 다음에 우리가 할 수 있는 게 뭐가 있을 것 같습니까? 저분들 국회에서 사면할 수 있게 개헌할 겁니다. 뭔들 하는 사람 아닙니까? 그래서 자기들 사면해 버릴 거예요. 안 그럴 것 같습니까? 저 사람들이 하는 행동을 보세요. 나와 주십시오. 그 12시간이 이순신 장군께서 이 나라를 지키셨던 것처럼 우리 대한민국을 지키게 할 거라고 저는 확신합니다. 전 여러분을 믿습니다. 여러분 모두 우리를 믿겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
News Central now returns after the break. Welcome back and thank you for staying. Now, it appears that the Nigerian naira is experiencing a period of strength against the US dollar, reaching its highest level since being devalued in January. This appreciation comes amid increased confidence in the currency and a series of policies implemented by the Central Bank of Nigeria to boost local dollar liquidity and support the naira. Despite predictions from the Economist Intelligence Unit forecasting further depreciation of the naira, the currency has defied these expectations. The EIU had projected the value of the naira to stabilize around 2,000 naira per US dollar by the end of the year. However, current market dynamics suggest otherwise, with the naira showing resilience and trading at around 1,245 naira per dollar. The recent arrival of electricity transformers and substations of Nigeria's $2.3 billion Siemens Power Project signifies a pivotal advancement in the country's energy sector. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu announced the development, highlighting progress despite prior setbacks, including delays due to COVID-19 pandemic and administrative challenges following the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari's Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari. The project, renewed by the federal government in collaboration with the German government and Siemens, aims to overhaul power transmissions and distribution infrastructure. These tangible strides reflect a commitment to address long-standing issues of electricity supply inadequacy and enhance overall reliability. Still talking business, 3 units of Eskom Kusile Power Station currently excelling will be sequentially offline from October to address chimney damage with a permanent solution. Last year, this damage deprived users of 2,400 megawatt generation capacity. Kusile's 4 operational units, boasting over 90% availability, are now excluded from Eskom's list of 6 power stations needing special attention. As the youngest in Eskom's fleet, Kusile pioneers units curbing toxic emissions. Kusile is the first Eskom coal-fired power station fitted with these units, which limits toxic emissions. And now let's talk sports. Nigeria's under-15 boys, known as Future Eagles, are set to travel to Spain on Tuesday afternoon for the UEFA Under-16 Development Tournament. The special invitation recognizes Nigeria's youth football success, having won 5 Under-17 World Cups and reaching 2 Under-20 World Cup finals. Ahead of the tournament, the Future Eagles trained at the Remo Stars Sports Institute in Ikenne for a week, playing 2 matches against Remo Stars Under-16 boys. Now, they also had a 2-match tour in Morocco last month. The UEFA Under-16 tournament will be held at the Pinata Arena Football Center in San Pedro del Pinata. The Future Eagles will face Belgium on Friday, April 12th, Italy on Sunday, April 14th, and England on Wednesday, April 17th. The Future Eagles delegation to Spain, inclusive of 20 players, will be led by Zanna Mohamed Mala, a member of the NFF Technical and Development Committee. Everton have been handed another points deduction by an independent commission for breaching Premier League profitability and sustainability rules. This latest deduction of 2 points leaves Everton with 27 points, only 2 points above the relegation zone, with 7 games left in the 2023-2024 season. It's the second time this season Everton has faced such a penalty, initially receiving a 10-point deduction, later reduced to 6 points after an appeal. This latest deduction stems from breaching financial rules over a 3-year period, exceeding the limit by nearly $21 million. Reports suggest Everton has seen 7 days to appeal this decision. The Independent Commission stressed the significance of any PSR breach justifying sporting sanctions. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Edo State Governor has sworn in Godwin as Deputy Governor. We also told you that Rwanda's president has defended M23 rebels' action in DR Congo. And finally, you heard that Mozambique ferry accident has killed at least 96. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.